Hi there. This is your introduction before we get to the actual video itself right there. In this video, I at first said I would like to make this video 20 minutes or less. And spoiler alert, I failed at that completely. When I make these long videos, I always recommend to people to perhaps put your phone down and put me on a listening mode, basically. Like this is a podcast. You know, I can recommend you maybe play some video games and listen to me in the background, do the dishes, whatever it is that you may be doing. If you like to watch me, feel free to do so. This is literally what you're getting right now, just me sitting in the car, talking and talking and talking. There is no interesting thing you have to see, it's just my voice talking alone. And so this video does go for about 45 minutes. Well, including the intro, I suppose it goes 46 minutes, but the intro in the video, or the video itself, goes about 45 minutes. Longer than I wanted, a lot longer. In this video, I guess I would like to talk about the topics here. The topics are as to explaining the reasons why people would vote for Trump, and how voting for Trump did not get them anything that they were expecting. And the reason why people stay with Donald Trump, to explain that one there. And to explain how the Democrats' messaging in the 2024 campaign didn't work as well as Trump's. As I can look back upon it. And the ending of the video with hope. As I want people to have some good news, to have hope for our future. So those are some of the topics right there for what you can expect ahead. So I just wanted to give you all of you a heads up on to how long this video is, longer than I anticipated. And with that being said, a reminder, you can watch it, or if you would like to put me down and just have this lovely audio playing in the background. There's a little humor right there. Feel free to do so. Thank you very much for watching or listening, whatever your preference may be. Thank you very much, and I do hope you all have a good day. Thank you. This video may go for a while. I'm going to try my best to keep this 20 minutes or less. Might be less, I don't know. We'll see when I come across. I understand why some of you would have wanted to vote for Donald Trump. I do. I understand, especially in the economy that we were dealing with in 2024. Prices were still high. They were still too high. People were tired about the Ukraine war. People were tired about Israel and Gaza. They were tired about everything. They were tired. And you had this guy in Donald Trump who came along and said, I'm going to get your prices lowered. Not only will I get it lowered, I will do it on day one. Now some people would say, that's impossible. That's a ridiculous promise to make. But it's the promise that he made. And the people were so desperate to believe in it. You see, we as Democrats had a failure messaging. And it's because of the media that we live in right now, where the media protects Donald Trump so much. They say things like, the things that he says is weird. They use the wrong terminology. They don't say it's unconstitutional, that he is unfit, unwell. Because everybody likes to try to take it easy on Donald Trump so they don't seem like they're one-sided. And the thing is I don't care about that shit. Call it like you see it. Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. Has been a threat to our democracy. I can't comment on who Donald Trump was during his first term. I wasn't paying attention during that time. But January 6th changed everything. And I know that so many times that you just hear that, and Republicans, they always go, oh, here we go, January 6th again. January 6th was an important day. And I said this in one of my last videos that I made on my TikTok. I don't know if I made it on my YouTube channel yet, but Donald Trump didn't like that he lost the 2020 election fair and square, but he did get what he wanted. From the loss came a victory as well, because in his loss he was able to show the whole damn world, I have so much influence and control, peaceful transfer of power, you're not going to get that from me. Just because I left the White House doesn't mean I ever left. My influence is there. These Republicans bow to me because January 6th showed exactly what I can do with MAGA. Point. They'll go. I need someone to send a message. I tell them they're woke. Boom. New enemy. We have failed at the messaging as well because of the fact that J.B. Pritzker, now I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, but I think it was asked upon him by MSNBC. You know, why do you think that people voted for Trump even though people said he was a threat to democracy? And J.B. Pritzker, again, I don't remember the full quote, basically said that because people don't know what that even means. Because they've never had to live through it. They've never thought of it happening here in America. How many times would you see a video of troops marching down in place, tanks rolling down the streets, and people would say, thank God that doesn't happen here in America. Donald Trump's birthday, tanks rolling down the streets, militaries marching, and now you have ICE agents dressed up in military gear, literally throwing people to the ground, tear gassing, and being Donald Trump's personal military to attack anybody they see fit, and nobody to hold them accountable, really. People would always say, not in America, that wouldn't happen. In America, it happens now. It happens. And the thing is that we failed at our messaging, us Democrats did, because of the fact that we promised to get lower prices as well, but we didn't promise on day one. Kamala Harris, she never promised you when the prices would get lowered. She said that she'd go after price gouging. Economists all said that's a better plan than Donald Trump's of utilizing tariffs. But because the Republican Party has gotten so good at just saying that everything's woke, everything's fake, and you can believe and when everything's fake, nothing's real. That's the thing that people have to understand, is when all they say is fake news all the time, what is the reality? What is the truth? If the only truth is that Donald Trump tells you, and that's the truth, are you serious? Donald Trump is one of the most well-known liars that has ever existed on the planet Earth. In its entire history, he's one of the top liars that has ever existed. And I'm not even saying he's a good liar. He just says a lot of lies. And not enough people feel like fact-check him. You know, I'll never forget when I watched the vice president debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, I always knew that I was going to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, of course, to keep, Trump and Vance out of the White House. That was my goal. But I also was trying to be fair. And I'm like, I've never really heard you before, JD, so let me hear you. And I can't remember when it was, but JD Vance had said something, and then the mediator, I think is their name, the people who ask the questions, moderator, one of the two, and they fact-checked him, and JD said, hold on, I thought you weren't going to fact-check me here, and that lost me. I said to myself, actually I might have said it out loud, I said, motherfucker, if you don't want to be fact-checked, stop lying. And if you don't want to be fact-checked, you should not be running for office. See, I know that they say that politicians lie, but that doesn't mean we should expect them to lie to us. There is a difference. When you're up there, you should want the truth. You should demand the truth. And when you have your politician right there saying, how dare you stop me from lying? That's a problem. And a problem that you shouldn't accept. But people were desperate to get their prices lowered. And we've all heard it before. We've all heard exactly the type of lines that our parents, our family members, our friends, our co-workers, anybody around. Trump will save it. Trump will save it. Trump will get your prices lowered. Trump will get your prices lowered. I had people who would tell me all the time, man, Trump will get the prices down lowered on gas. I said, that's cool. I'm still not voting for him. And they were confused. Why would you not want that? I'm like, I'd rather pay for the higher prices than have that guy. Why? Because I believe in this country. I believe in democracy. I don't believe in the dictatorship. You see, we thought that January 6th would sway people away. The problem is as much as January 6th means so much to us, it meant nothing to them. It wasn't Donald Trump that stormed the Capitol. It wasn't Donald Trump that beat up police officers. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. How could Donald Trump have stopped anything? He could have, and he did. When he told them to go home, they went home. We have video evidence that there was a insurrectionist that was there checking Donald Trump's social media every step of the way. When Trump said that it was time to go home, they left. He gave them marching orders. Fight like hell. If you don't fight, we're not going to have a country anymore. Stoke the flames. He knew they were angry. He knew that there was the insurrection happening, and waited for hours. Denied the National Guard to go there to put a stop to it. And didn't do anything for hours. Just watched it all unfold with a smile on his face. Because for Donald Trump, that's sacrifice. That's real love and real loyalty. Loyalty to him, not to the country. You see, because Donald Trump doesn't love this country, doesn't love America. He only knows how to weaponize it for his own selfish gain. He knows how to utilize it for his own benefit. He knows how to use your love of this country to just say, make America great again. He says that all the time. In 2024, he would say that the American dream is dead. I don't remember the full quote by Joe Biden. But Joe Biden would always say this, is that we've never lived up to the full promise of America, but we've never walked away from it either. That meant something to me. We've never lived up to the full promise of what we have advertised for America. But that doesn't mean that we stopped trying. That doesn't mean that we gave up on it. Trump just advertised hatred. He advertised that the Democrats have killed America. They're the bad people. America's dead. They dumped the worst into our place. America's a garbage can. He would say these things. Talk trash about America. You have your First Amendment right to do it. But I just don't understand it. That's the so-called patriotism. Pardon me for a moment. But back to the matter at hand, I understand why people would have wanted to vote for that. To vote for Trump. Because of the fact that he sold you on these false promises. No inflation. Lower prices, more affordability, cut the waste, fraud, and abuse, no new wars, end that war in Ukraine. All of it sounds so beautiful, right? I'm gonna get the criminals out. Sounds so beautiful, right? Like a dream. And because people were so damn desperate, they didn't ask themselves this: if it sounds too good to be true, isn't it too good to be true? You see, MAGA doesn't believe in that. They just go, Trump's our guy, that's our guy, that's our guy, that's our guy. And they're very good at being the brainwashed ones. And so they try to brainwash everyone else around them. You see, there are new voters who I don't judge them. I don't really judge them because of the fact that we're fucking lazy. There's no easy way to put this. We're fucking lazy. There are people who made their vote and then they went on Google and said, what's a tariff? And then when they found out what a tariff was, they asked, can I change my vote? No, you cannot. There are people who asked what are the consequences of mass deportation and then asked, can I change my vote? No, you can't. You cannot. Now, why do I say that I understand for people to have voted for Trump? You know me. I'm so against Trump. Why would I understand it? Because of the desperation. Prices being too high. And the Democrats, our messaging was, well, inflation's down. And then Trump would say, no, inflation is up, and that's why your prices are so high. And us Democrats, we never said, listen, prices are high because we're bouncing back from a global pandemic and we're living under that motherfucker's tax plan. We are under the Donald Trump tax plan. Who said that? Nobody. Do you know how I learned about the Trump tax plan? Do you know how I learned about that? From Dean Withers. You may know Dean. He does debates with MAGA on YouTube and TikTok, and I don't know if there's any other platforms that he does it on. But all the people that I listen to, Midas Touch, Brian Todd Cohen, Luke Beasley, I'm forgetting names. I don't recall any of them talking about the Trump tax plan. Because, you see, I think that they expected their viewers to simply know whose tax plan we were under. You see, a new voter for me, because the 2024 was my first time ever actually voting. I think they forget to speak to new voters sometimes. And I think they believe that, well, everybody should know whose tax plan we're under. When someone like me, I would think whoever the president is, that would be his tax plan, right? It just makes the most sense. He's in charge. Isn't it his? Nope. The Trump tax plan was set to expire this year. And Donald Trump extended it to a bigger tax break for the millionaires and billionaires, going to force our prices to go up higher and higher and higher again. But the Democratic messaging, we don't point the fingers. We didn't really point fingers and tell him, hey, this is his fault. Instead, we just said, hey, I've got ideas. Where Trump was like, hey, I've got ideas and I've got finger pointing. However, my idea is to, fake and say, I'm going to get jobs back and I'm going to lower your prices with tariffs. These tariffs are going to save you money and bring back American jobs. When we've seen the opposite happen. They have not enriched our economy, and we have lost jobs. Continued to lose plenty of jobs. But again, the desperation was so real, at an all-time high for so many. I really, really need those lower prices. I am struggling. And the Democrats are just saying that inflation's low, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it. You can say it's low, but what about my prices? The Democrat messaging was, I'll fix it. I have a plan, price gouging. And you had them going, wow, Kamala Harris has a plan. Why didn't she implement that plan when Biden was office? When Biden was president? And it's because of the desperation mindset and because of MAGA telling these people, listen, if Kamala Harris was going to be so good, she would just be making her plans right now. She's vice president after all. If that was the case, why do we need Trump? Why do we need any president? The vice president can just do it all then, right? They've painted this picture where the vice president overrules the president. And in reality, the best way that I can paint the picture for them is to just say, listen, the vice president is nothing more than the president's bitch. It's his butler, his maid, whatever. You're there to show up for meetings. You're there to cut the red ribbons. You're there if I can't be there. But mostly, you're just my little bitch. And you're gonna do what I say. This is the best way that I can paint the picture of what a vice president is. And because Trump promised day one this, day one that, day one here, and day one everywhere, people were desperate for it. They were desperate for a change. A change that would never come for them. Not in a good way, anyways. And people were sick and tired about hearing about the Ukraine war. They were sick and tired about it. And who could blame them? Everyone wants the war ended. We all do. It would be nice, right? The problem is, some people just didn't care. They didn't care about it. It was just a nuisance. It was annoying. Why do we have to hear about it? This isn't... Who cares if Ukraine's our allies? We need to talk about America, and America only. America first, man. America first. until we give $40 billion to Argentina. Yeah, then it's America last, you know, and that's Donald Trump. But we would say we can't give up on Ukraine, because if we do, Putin is not going to be satisfied with just Ukraine. He will go to our allied nations of NATO. And then that would really stoke up flames and could potentially lead to a World War III. And people thought it's just fear-mongering, because Donald Trump would go, Putin's a smart guy. I could stop Putin. I can stop Putin. Putin likes me, and so too does Zelensky. They both like me. I get along with both guys great. I'll end that war. But nobody really had a plan. Nobody really had a plan. The plan of the Democrats was just to continue to work with Ukraine, which is obviously the right solution, to try to push Putin into surrender, submit, whatever you want to call it. How long would that have taken? Don't know. Trump's plan, I'll have it ended. But nobody asked him, how would you do it? Trump would say, I'll just sit these two guys in a room, talk it out. Pretty sure he said that one before. And it's like, oh my God, wow, nobody thought of that? A conversation? Wow, gee golly gosh. But now, Trump's plan, just give up Ukraine. Fucking give up. Sorry, let me take you the step-by-step of Trump's plan. First was to tell Putin, stop. Holy shit. Nobody thought of that one. Wow, if only Joe Biden had thought about telling Putin, you gotta stop, man. Wow. Unbelievable. Second plan, invite the war criminal Vladimir Putin to America to have a conversation. You know, we live in the year of 2025. We have FaceTime, Zoom, you've got Skype, you've got so many different ways to be able to contact people. And Trump thought the best thing we could do is invite the war criminal, the evil Vladimir Putin, to America, where Putin in many other countries would have been handcuffed, put in prison, but we welcomed him like a hero. Invite him down, our soldiers bowing down to him when they rolled out the red carpet for him. As soon as Putin's getting off his airplane, our president, Donald Trump, is standing there applauding, a smile on his face. And as they walk together, you know, military jets fly overhead, not to, you know, go after Putin, but to give him a grand entrance like he's walking down the WrestleMania ramp. They have a meeting, and then when they're standing at the podiums, Putin's talking over Trump, and there was no peace talks at all. A waste of time. To even where the point that Fox News had said that Trump looked bad got steamrolled by Putin. And it was either that day or the very next day that there's a Russian tank rolling down, and it's got the Russian flag and the United States of America flag right next to it. A power move by Putin to showcase his strength over on Trump. And now fast forward to where this week of Thanksgiving week, we are on Monday the 24th. It is set that Zelensky is supposed to give up whatever land that Russia has stolen from Ukraine in order to end the war. That is the Donald Trump plan. People can't seem to know who came up with that plan, whether it was, you know, America or Russia. Either way, it's a Russian plan. Who cares which country came up with the plan? It only benefits the fact of Russia to get what Putin wants. And I forgot to point this out here, is that because Putin knows he is in full control of his puppet, Donald Trump, Putin went out of his way to attack Poland and Romania, our allied countries, as the Democrat Party had said. And Putin didn't even wait for him to win the war over Ukraine. He just did it because he knows that America won't do shit. NATO enacted Article 4. Article 4 basically just telling the other NATO countries, hey, watch out. Be on high alert. Article 5, if that is enacted, that means our soldiers have to go over and fight alongside our allies. So, when you thought that this war with Russia and Ukraine wouldn't involve us, they didn't involve us. You're looking at the short term. Putin looking at the long term. With all this being said, and you wanted to be the party of free speech, let's move on to our next topic. Party of free speech, that's not true. You thought you were party of free speech. Donald Trump laughed at the cancellation of Stephen Colbert. Donald Trump laughed when Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. And then he made his plans known. I want to go after Jimmy Fallon next, and The View. That's a man who's cheering on cancellations. Now, Jimmy Kimmel was brought back to air. That's a man who cheered on the silencing of others, letting his message be known. I don't like your free speech. You cannot criticize me. Going out of his way to saying that criticizing the president is illegal. He just says shit to say shit. He then goes out of his way to say that I have removed your freedom of speech when he tried to make it official that you can no longer burn the American flag. Listen, you can have whatever thoughts you want about that, but that is part of people's freedom of speech. And Donald Trump went out of his way to say, I have attacked it. You wanted to believe in your Second Amendment. The Second Amendment doesn't just apply to straight people. It applies for all. And Donald Trump said, I believe this was after what happened to Charlie Kirk. I believe it was Trump that, had said that he was going to go after taking away the rights for transgenders, for them to be able to own a firearm. And if you are for the Second Amendment, that's for anyone, straight, gay, bi, trans, for anyone there. He goes after the Constitution to not award people due process. He was asked by the host of Meet the Press in an interview, and she said, don't you have to uphold the Constitution? And Donald Trump says, I don't know. When the president says that, he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution, then he should just get out. That is an oath that he takes to uphold the Constitution and its laws. I will try to end with this one here right now. I don't want to make this into like an hour-long video. Donald Trump is not worth supporting right now. There is nothing. What I look at it is you're looking at Donald Trump for you to have your faith be rewarded. You've put in all your time, your effort, your money, your donations, your merchandise, the hours upon hours of listening to podcast interviews and all this stuff, your vote, your belief, your everything, your whole identity has become of MAGA. You want to believe that Donald Trump is looking out for me. I voted for him. I voted for him 3 times. I've given this guy everything. Sure, politicians lie. Sure, he lies sometimes. Sure, he says things. He's an asshole. But this asshole is not going to protect you. No new wars. Donald Trump keeps threatening war with Venezuela. We are like more than halfway there. You're so close to that war with Venezuela. And Donald Trump threatening war with Nigeria, saying that he could bomb Mexico. Created a trade war that has not benefited anybody. Donald Trump, I understand that you want to believe that your loyalty will pay off in the end. And I'm going to go off and say something like this here, and you may not like this comparison here, but it's like being a Christian. You don't know, there's no scientific proof of God or Jesus Christ. You just go off of faith. And I don't blame anybody for that one. I don't blame anyone for that. I'll tell you, I am not really heavy into religion. I choose to believe in an afterlife because of the fact that I would like to think that when I die, it's not just, a really long sleep. I would like to think of an afterlife where I get to meet my friends, family, loved ones, all that. My pets, in the afterlife. We have a great party and whatever. But I don't look towards a God. I don't look towards Jesus Christ for anything. I don't really pray. But anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get into that. But I don't fault anyone for having that type of faith. You don't need scientific evidence for it. But with Donald Trump, you've been given evidence. Your prices haven't come down. Inflation is rising up. The war in Ukraine has not ended. In fact, it's gotten worse. Where we are helping Russia. Ukraine has become, they're supposed to be our ally, and yet we are betraying our allies. No new wars, and yet Trump keeps threatening wars. Democratic officials saying to military personnel, just remember your oath. You have a right to deny illegal and unconstitutional orders. Not only do you have the right, you must do it. And Trump says that's treason, treacherous, and they should be put to death. He said that. He said they should be put to death, punishable by death. Unconstitutional, unfit, unwell, unpopular. You have the proof on Trump. You have the proof that he is not worth supporting. You don't have to have a blind faith loyalty to him. Even when you think that, it's just the brown people he's going after. When it comes to ICE, he's going after legal U.S. citizens, which I knew he would, because when he was told after his debate with Kamala Harris that the Haitian immigrants he was talking about in Springfield, Ohio, he was told that they were there legally. He said we have to get them out anyways. Because in the mind of Trump, I can't be wrong. I'm never wrong. And therefore, I just have to double down and say, get them anyways. I can't ever just say, oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Well, I apologize for my remarks. And, they're there legally, so, that's great. I apologize for what I said. That's what a decent human being would do. Apologize when you make a mistake. It's not Trump. He doesn't do that. Now, yes, legal U.S. citizens, most who have been detained and sent to these prison centers, have been released. Still doesn't change the fact that ICE are doing it, and they tell people we don't care. People are dying in these prison centers. I no longer want to call it a detention center. It's a prison. A prison simply because you're brown. Most of whom are not criminals. You have the proof of Donald Trump. You have the proof of who he is. It's not worth supporting and not worth standing by. Your loyalty is not paying off. I understand that you want to wait, and you believe that if you just give your loyalty long enough, eventually it'll pay off. It doesn't. It doesn't. I want to make this comparison here again. For me personally, this is gonna introduce a little pro wrestling, okay? When years ago, I would watch the WWE. I would watch Monday Night Raw. And I didn't enjoy the product. But I watched it because it's what I knew. Every Monday, repetition. You're supposed to watch Raw, And I'd watch it, I'm like, oh, man, that just sucked. Didn't enjoy it. But I kept coming back. Why? Because that was my identity. Pro wrestling is one of the most important things to me, and I didn't go searching for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I didn't go searching for any other promotion. All I knew was really WWE, and that's what I watched. And then it hit me. I don't have to devote myself to this. I'm not enjoying this. Click. I stopped watching. But I had that way for a long time where I wouldn't enjoy it. But I did it anyways because it was my identity. And removing that felt like a betrayal upon myself in a way. Now, fast forward, I have a new pro wrestling to watch in AEW, but it was making that choice to leave because I wanted to believe if I keep watching, it's going to get better, right? It has to. It can't stay like this where I hate it all the time. But it didn't change. I wasn't happy. But I kept watching, waiting, hoping for a difference. And it didn't come. And that is the same way that I look at it right now. Is people wanting to believe that they gave everything to this. Everything to this cause. Eventually I will be rewarded for it, right? Right? And you won't. You won't. In less than a year, Donald Trump has done a lot of damage to America. A lot of damage. And yeah. But I would like to end this with good news. He's losing a lot of support. There are those who are waking up that were once MAGA, Now, I'm not saying that they're becoming full Democrats like myself. I'm not saying that they are fully changed their ways. I'm not saying that at all. But Donald Trump's control is weakening. When it came to the files, he and Mike Johnson wanted to add amendments so that way they could take out people's names from the files, put in some ruling or whatever the term may be. They didn't get those amendments added. Republicans went for the release with the Democrats in these files, and Trump wasn't happy about it. Mike Johnson wasn't happy about it. They're both losing their control. And that is not me trying to be in support of Republicans at all. But they were seeing the writing on the wall that this guy was not the horse to bet on. He's losing it. And they're trying to save face. So they walked away from him on that. Now, the good news as well, too, is we're going to have the midterm elections. I've seen people say we can't have midterms because Trump's going to start a war. And that will mean that the midterms are canceled. That's not what that means in America. It's not how it works. And people will say, oh, he'll send the military out there. Okay. Even if he sends the military out in states, what does that mean? Are you really going to be so scared of the military that you won't show up and vote in the midterms? I'll show up. I won't care if anybody, were to stand there and try to intimidate me. You won't. I have a right to my vote, and I know who to vote for. Republicans have lost a lot of support. And does that mean that people fully trust Democrats? No. I don't. I think that there are still a lot of people that have their reservations about Democrats. But it's the only side right now that you can vote on. For people who voted third party, this is how we got here too. For people who didn't vote at all, this is how we got here with Trump. Democrats may not be perfect, but they seem to be the only ones who are trying to move in a better direction. Argue with that as much as you want. You're arguing with a wall. I'm not here to debate MAGA. I'm not here to do any of that with you all. Not at all. And the good news is that winning the midterms, we will then impeach Donald Trump. Democrats winning the midterms will mean impeachment upon Donald Trump. Republicans are not going to do it. Someone asked me before on my TikTok, why don't Republicans take that stand? And I said, I think that the biggest thing for them is fear. They are afraid of Donald Trump. Afraid because think about what he may have on them. Donald Trump's a stupid man. A stupid man, but I think he also has backup plans as well too. I think he probably has dirt on a lot of them. And he'd probably think to himself, and they probably know this as well, you take me down, I'm taking you with me. You're all going down with me. I will release everything before anyone comes to get me. I will have it all out in the open. Or also, don't forget, Donald Trump's personal army, ICE, and MAGA. I mean, how many times we've heard people making threats of explosions. I don't know if I can say the B word, but we've heard those types of threats from people. Marjorie Taylor Greene, ever since she's gone against Trump, she's said that people are making threats against her and her family. because people know that MAGA is a violent group. They're violent. I'm not sorry to say that. You have to look within yourselves and understand that. But despite all that, we just hold strong, and Trump will be impeached, and that will be our first step to getting our country back. It will be our first step. So there you have it. I apologize for this video being longer than I thought. I wanted to get all this off my chest and talk with you all about all this. So thank you for watching and listening. And if you feel the video deserves it, hit that like button down below. You can subscribe and ring the bell, so whenever you get my video or whatever. And yeah, that's about it.